Alright, today we're going to be looking at the interaction between CA glue and PLA glue, okay, and how to use it in electroforming. It's pretty sweet. You ready for this? This will change a few of your compositions. Alright, so what I'm going to start out with is the difference between PLA glue and CA glue. So PLA glue, Elmer's glue, is a PLA glue. Mod Podge is a PLA glue with a resin, so it gives kind of a different texture to it because of that resin. Same effect though. In your country you might have different PLA glues that all work the same. They might all have different components in them that might change the overall outcome of it, however. So these are the ones I'm using in this test, but I'm sure there's a ton of PLA glues on the market with different resins and different colloids mixed in with them. Okay, so the other one is CA glue. CA glue is super glue, okay, and the thinner the better for this. I use Bob's Instacure, and this is the medium variation, but they have another one that's blue, and that's super thin super glue, and that would probably even work better. I don't have any presently available. I don't think. No, I don't. Yep. This is actually a pretty nice one to have on hand anyway. The super thin super glue is good for other stuff too, like sealing things, but I kind of like the purple. It's universal. Alright, another thing we're going to be looking at is a microscope slide. These are really kind of cool. So you get a textured sample that you can hang on the wall at the end. So take your microscope slide, then we're going to coat it in a PLA glue. And depending on how much you get on the slide is how extreme the texture can get. So if you want it mild, I would say just a thin coat. And if you want it mild, you might want to like take your glue and evenly distribute it out. Okay, and I'll show you what extreme looks like here in a second. So you can go kind of crazy with this. Okay, we drip super glue into areas. Okay, let me take this and start stirring. And it's going to start pulling, and you can start making some really cool transitions. What we want is a texture that is good up against the skin, not too extreme. And if you don't get it with the first pass, you just add more super glue into areas that didn't get much and start stirring, and you can kind of blend things together. Just like that. Alright, so you can get pretty extreme with here. Here's an example of that. You can get like that with a crazy thing. So this is adding too much glue. This is adding just a little bit of glue. Okay. And if you want to see an example of what it looks like electroformed, here's that. So it feels really cool up against the skin. This is a patinaed example of it on the microscope glass. Very sweet. Here is an example of how you can use it in your compositions. So I wanted a way of blending this to the crystal, so I'm using that here. Very cool. I'll also show you how or what I used it for in one of my previous compositions here in a second. So I want this is the wall hanger, and it's sitting like this. So what I want to do is put this here as a balance. So there's going to be something dangling here, so I want something balanced on the other side. Just to get it so I don't have to hold it, I'm going to put just a little drop of this UV resin, and I have this flashlight, UV flashlight, and I want this to be right there at that angle. Okay, I'll hit it with the UV light. Kind of pick it up a little bit, get some underneath. There we go. So now at least I don't have to hand hold that on there. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is make it gap filled, and we're going to use just super glue and baking soda for the initial because that's really strong compared to this other stuff. Okay, so I want strength first, and then I want to be able to blend it using the texture. So much like every Bob Smith super glue, the stupid lid always becomes clogged, and I have to go unclog it, so I'll be right back. Alright, is it wrong I have my own dedicated area to unplug Bob Smith products? It's ridiculous. So this gap fill is going to go on rather goopy, and I'm just, there we go. So already it's got a pretty cool like blending, but it's missing that texture. So I'm gonna have to let this dry before I do my next trick. Good hour. Alright, now that that's dry, we're going to basically blend these two things together. Okay, in order to even begin that, we I use a toothbrush or a stiff brush or something like that, and just kind of get off the old there we go, baking soda. Okay, then grab your toothpick. Now if you want to make this sharp again, you can. I don't have any sandpaper over here, so I'm just going to deal with it. But kind of works like this. Take your object, we put some Elmer's glue in the area, kind of like that, big glob of it. See if I can't get this to focus on this part right here. And then you take your thin super glue and you put about 2 or 3 drops in there. Then you mix it together with your stick, and it will start drying very quickly. Alright, so here's a close-up of the effect. It looks very sweet. So you can see like how it has depth. It has like these details in here. Just like that. Very cool. So I'm going to be using a different conductive paint in this area so that I can't see the black, because these crystals are kind of clear. Alright, a little conductive paint in the area. Let it dry and it'll be ready. So here's the full composition. Kyanite, twine, more twine, little like dangle thing so I can attach a crystal to it. Growth. I think I'm going to leave these two dangle. There's like this little like twine here that dangles over the top. I'm just going to leave that. The shadow on the wall should be kind of cool. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed the video of using any PLA based glue and super glue and what it looks like electroformed over the top of it. Enjoy.